Friday night, laughter fills the air. Friends by your side, not the same.
Have you ever wondered why sometimes silence is the best response? There's a certain power in silence, an unspoken eloquence that often speaks louder than words. An art, a skill and a strategy, silence can be a response that conveys a depth of understanding, emotion and knowledge that words sometimes fail to capture. Consider the phrase, "the calm before the storm." It alludes to a silence that is potent, filled with anticipation, and often more intimidating than the storm itself. That's the power of silence. It's a communicative tool that can be wielded with precision and intent, a strategy that can turn tides and shift dynamics in a conversation. Silence isn't just the absence of noise or words, it's a language on its own. It's the space where emotions, thoughts and reactions reside, waiting to be observed, interpreted, or simply respected. It's an art that requires a keen sense of understanding and empathy. But let's take a moment to dispel a common misconception. Silence is not synonymous with submission or weakness. On the contrary, it's a demonstration of strength, resilience, and wisdom. It's the ability to listen, to observe, and to hold your ground when words seem redundant or unnecessary. There are instances when silence can be more impactful than the most eloquently spoken words. Imagine a situation where you're met with hostility or aggression. Responding in kind only fuels the fire, but silence can disarm, can de-escalate. It can provide a moment of pause, a break in the cycle of retaliation, giving room for reflection and perhaps resolution. Picture a negotiation where the stakes are high. Here, silence can be a strategic move, creating a space that compels the other party to reveal more, to negotiate with themselves or to reconsider their stance. And in personal relationships, silence can be a form of respect, a signal that you're there to listen, to understand, not just to respond. So let's delve deeper and explore real-life instances where silence proved to be the best response. Consider a heated argument where tempers are flaring. Picture two individuals, both passionate and convinced of their own perspectives. The tension is palpable, and the air is thick with discord. But then, something unexpected happens. One person, we'll call them Alex, chooses to remain silent, offering the other, let's call them Taylor, the floor to fully express their feelings and thoughts. Now, let's dissect this situation. Alex's decision to remain silent is not a sign of defeat or agreement. Rather, it's a strategic move designed to calm the storm. By allowing Taylor to vent, Alex is diffusing the tension. They're creating a space where Taylor's emotions can unfold without further fueling the fire. This silence is not passive, it's active and purposeful. In the heat of the moment, silence can be disarming. It can make people feel heard and validated, leading to a decrease in hostility. It's not about who's right or wrong, but about understanding and empathy. When Alex remains silent, they're not just listening to Taylor's words, but also to their emotions and underlying concerns. This act of silent listening paves the way for understanding and potentially resolution. But this silence isn't just beneficial for Taylor. For Alex, it's a chance to step back, to reflect, and to gain a clearer perspective. In this silence, Alex is also able to control their own emotional responses, avoiding the pitfalls of reacting in the heat of the moment. The beauty of silence in conflict resolution lies in its simplicity. It's a pause, a breath, a moment of reflection. Silence gives us a break from the noise, the chaos, and the whirlwind of emotions. It allows us to step back, reassess, and approach the situation with a fresh perspective. As we can see, silence here served as a powerful tool to diffuse tension and guide the situation towards resolution. It's not about shutting down communication, but about creating a space where real, meaningful conversation can happen. So the next time you find yourself in a heated debate or a difficult conversation, remember the power of silence. It just might help you steer the situation towards a more peaceful resolution. Now imagine a high-stakes business negotiation. You're in a sleek conference room, the air is thick with anticipation and the stakes are sky-high. You're negotiating a deal that could make or break your company's future. The other party lays out their terms and then you say nothing. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, aren't negotiations supposed to be a back-and-forth exchange of ideas? Well, yes, but silence can be a powerful tool in these situations. Let's explore a case study to illustrate this point. Consider a small tech startup negotiating a partnership deal with a major corporation. The corporation presents their terms, which are less favorable to the startup. Instead of immediately countering, the startup representatives remain silent. This silence creates an immediate pressure in the room. The representatives from the corporation, in their discomfort, feel compelled to fill the void. They start talking, revealing more about their motivations, their constraints, and their flexibility than they might have intended. Silence here is not just an absence of noise. It's a strategic move, a calculated decision, designed to unsettle the other party and prompt them to reveal more information. It's a technique that requires self-control and patience but can yield significant dividends. As the negotiation progresses, the startup representatives continue to use silence strategically. They pause before responding, they listen more than they speak, and they allow the corporation to make the first move in revising the terms. This strategy ultimately leads to a more favorable deal for the startup. Silence in this context can also encourage the other party to make concessions. The corporation, eager to move the negotiation forward and uncomfortable with the prolonged silence, might offer better terms or additional benefits to the startup. In this scenario, silence was not just a response, it was a strategic move that led to a successful negotiation. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most effective communication doesn't involve speaking at all. So, the next time you find yourself in a negotiation, remember, silence can be golden. Let's think about a situation in a personal relationship where emotions run high. Picture this, you're in a heated conversation with a loved one. The tension is palpable, the emotions are raw, and the words are flying. In the midst of this emotional whirlwind, you choose to take a step back. You choose to remain silent. This isn't a silence of indifference or withdrawal, but a silence of respect. By choosing not to react in the heat of the moment, you're allowing the other person the space they need to process their feelings. You're giving them an opportunity to voice their emotions, their fears, their frustrations, without interruption or judgment. Let's delve a little deeper into a case study. Imagine a couple, let's call them Alex and Jordan. They've been together for several years, and like any other couple, they've had their fair share of disagreements. One day, they find themselves in a particularly heated argument. Alex, feeling overwhelmed, decides to take a step back and remain silent. This silence isn't a dismissal of Jordan's feelings, but a respectful acknowledgement of them. Alex's silence gives Jordan the space they need to express their feelings, to vent their frustrations, to let off some steam. And in this silence, Jordan finds a sense of calm, a moment of clarity. This silence between Alex and Jordan isn't awkward or uncomfortable. It's a silence filled with understanding and compassion. It's a silence that speaks volumes about their respect for each other's emotions. It communicates a willingness to listen, to understand, to empathize. In personal relationships, it's important to remember that silence isn't always a negative. It can be a powerful tool for diffusing tension, for fostering understanding, for showing empathy. It can be a sign of respect, a demonstration of patience, a testament to your love for the other person. So the next time you find yourself in a heated discussion with a loved one, remember the power of silence. Remember that it's okay to take a step back, to give the other person the space they need to process their feelings. Remember that in the midst of the chaos, silence can be a beacon of peace. In personal relationships, silence can sometimes speak volumes about understanding and compassion. So, we've explored various situations where silence can be the best response. Let's take a few moments to recap the power of silence and how it can be wielded to our advantage in various scenarios. We started with the fundamental understanding of the power of silence. It's not about being mute, but rather about harnessing the ability to listen, to understand, and to reflect. Embracing silence isn't about being passive, it's about being actively present and aware. Then, we moved into the world of conflict resolution. Here, silence takes on a new form, acting as a tool for de-escalation. It provides an opportunity for us to take a step back, to consider the situation at hand, and to formulate a thoughtful response instead of an impulsive reaction. The power of silence in conflict resolution lies in its ability to diffuse tension and foster understanding. Next, we ventured into the realm of negotiations. In this context, silence can be a strategic move, creating space for the other party to reveal their thoughts and potentially their vulnerabilities. It's about using silence as a tactical tool, allowing us to gain insights and leverage in the negotiation process. We also touched on the importance of silence in personal relationships. Silence here is not about ignoring or avoiding, but about providing a safe space for expression and understanding. It's about knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to share and when to observe. It's about using silence to foster deeper connections, to build trust, and to maintain balance in relationships. In summary, silence, when used correctly, is a powerful tool that can transform our relationships, our conversations, and our interactions. It allows us to listen, to reflect, and to respond in a thoughtful and effective manner. Next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, remember sometimes silence can indeed be the most powerful response.